There is a 9-second video from a hardware store parking lot of my wife putting a landscaping brick through my windshield while I was inside buying paint. When people ask me why I have a protective order against a woman I was married to for 14 years, I do not explain anything. I just show them the 9 seconds. And here is the part that still gets me. The brick was not even the most unhinged thing she did that month. It was not in the top 3. Let me back up, because none of this makes sense without the beginning. And the beginning was the quietest part of the whole thing. On a Sunday night in February, my wife turned off the TV in the middle of a show I was watching, sat down on the coffee table directly in front of me, took both of my hands, and confessed to an affair. 4 months. A guy she dated back in high school who had found her online over the summer and started in with the messages. You ever think about the old days? That kind of thing. It went from messages to lunch, from lunch to everything else. She told me all of it, start to finish. And I want to be straight about something, because it matters for everything that came after. She was not falling apart when she told me. She had a speech. She had clearly rehearsed it, because it had a shape to it. Here is what happened. Here is why it happened. Here is what we are going to do now. She even cried in a couple of spots. And looking back, I think the crying was rehearsed too. And the ending of the speech was already written too. We would do counseling. We would take that trip we always talked about. We would come out of this stronger, she actually said. Stronger. She had the whole thing mapped out, and the plan only worked if I forgave her, and it never once occurred to her that I might not. I sat there and let her finish, and then I heard myself say, very quietly, I want a divorce. I was not screaming and I was not crying. I did not throw anything, and I did not call her one single name, and I have thought about this a lot since, and I believe that calm is what did it. She had braced for me to blow up, because a blow up she could have worked with. What she could not handle was me being calm and done. Now hold on, because before I get to what she turned into, you need the ordinary version of us, or the rest of this won't make any sense. I am 46. We were married 14 years, no kids. We tried for a while. It did not happen. And somewhere along the way, we stopped trying and got a dog instead, a big orange mutt. I worked maintenance at a food plant, second shift for years, days now. She is a nurse anesthetist, and she makes almost double what I make, and I never cared one bit. Nice house that we bought run down and fixed up over 6 years. Both names on everything. Normal marriage, or whatever normal is. For about 2 weeks after that Sunday, I got the sweet version. She took the guest room without being asked and started a campaign. Letters on my windshield in the morning. Actual handwritten letters. My favorite dinners appearing. She called my mother and turned her into part of the campaign. She showed up at the plant twice with lunch, standing out by the time clock where everybody could see her, because an audience makes it harder to say no. That was the sweet version of the campaign, and I just kept saying the same sentence. I am not angry, and I am not staying. And listen, if I had folded right there, I would have never learned what was underneath. That is the one thing I thank the whole nightmare for. I got to see it before I signed up for 20 more years of it. Because the day the divorce papers actually got served, the sweet version ended like somebody flipped a breaker. I came home from work and every piece of clothing I owned was on the front lawn, and the sprinklers were running. Not thrown in a rage either. Everything was laid out. My work shirts were arranged flat on the grass in rows, sleeves out, and the water just going back and forth across all of it. The neighbors' kids were standing on the sidewalk taking pictures. I remember standing in my driveway thinking, 14 years, and I do not know this woman at all. I gathered up 30 pounds of wet clothes in garbage bags, and I did not say a word. And that night, the TV I watched ball games on, a TV I bought, had a candle holder through the screen. She said it fell. A candle holder does not fall sideways through a mounted television, but I was done arguing with her by then, and 2 mornings later, my back left tire was flat, and the tire guy pulled out a drywall screw, and then he pulled out 2 more, and he gave me a look, and I gave him a look back, and neither one of us said anything, because what is there to say? So I moved out. My brother has a place about 20 minutes from us, and I took the spare room, and I figured she has the house for now. She has her rage. Distance will cool this down. Now, you tell me if this sounds like cooling down. The first Saturday I was gone, my phone rang 37 times between 8 at night and 2 in the morning. I counted because I stopped answering after the fourth one, and the last handful came from numbers I did not know, because when I blocked her, she went and got one of those app numbers, and when I blocked that one, she got another one. Somewhere in there, she left a voicemail sweet as pie, asking what I wanted from the store, like it was any regular weeknight. That is how she came unhinged too. She kept flipping back and forth, sweet then vicious, sometimes inside the same voicemail. Then she got organized, and that scared me a lot more than the loud stuff did. She found reasons to be everywhere I was. I would come out of the plant at shift change, and her car would be parked across the road, not hiding, just parked, facing the gate, gone by the time I got over there. My brother's street is a dead end, and twice a week, some nights at 1, some at 2 in the morning, a car would come down, turn around in the cul-de-sac real slow, and lay on the horn one long time on the way out. My gym is a 24-hour place, and one night the front desk kid tells me, "Hey, your wife came by earlier asking which nights you usually come in." She had never once been to that gym. That is unhinged behavior, and we were only 5 weeks in. And here is where it went from creepy to a case. My back tire was still losing air from the screws, so I finally took the car in for a patch and an oil change. And while I am sitting in the waiting room, the kid from the shop comes around the counter holding something wrapped in a rag, and he asks me, "You a cop, or is somebody following you?" It was a GPS tracker, a real one, the kind anybody can buy online for about $60, a black box the size of a deck of cards with 2 magnets on the back, stuck up under my back bumper. Those things have a SIM card inside, same as a phone, and they call home wherever the car goes, and whoever pays a little monthly fee gets to watch the dot move around on a map. She had been watching my dot for I do not know how long. Every shift, every stop at my lawyer's office, every trip to my brother's. I stood there in that waiting room holding that box, and I will be honest with you, that was the moment I got actually afraid, because everything up to then was temper, and this was planning, and it was not just a tag. A friend request came in around then from a woman I did not know, 3 photos, account 4 days old, and within 2 messages, the punctuation gave her away, because my wife has typed 3 dots and a comma the same way for 14 years. The account asked me how I was sleeping. I know how unhinged that sounds, and that is exactly why I kept the screenshots, because the folder was open by then and everything went in it. I want you to keep count of something from here on out, because I started keeping count that night. The lawyer told me to. He said, from now on, you write down every date, every time, you save every voicemail, you photograph everything, and you do not delete one single thing. So I did. The tracker went in a plastic bag with the date on it. The voicemails got saved to a folder. My brother put a cheap doorbell camera on his front door, $39, and I am telling you, it turned out to be the best $39 anybody ever spent. Somewhere in those weeks, she also called the plant, told the front office she had reason to believe I had been walking out with company tools in my lunch cooler. I have 22 years in that building. My supervisor called me in, shut the door, let me sit in it for a second, and then slid a printout of the complaint over to me and said, figured you would want this for your lawyer, because the doorbell camera is how we got the car thing. One night, about 1:30 in the morning, it pings my brother's phone, and there on the little screen is my wife in the driveway in pajama pants, dragging a key down the whole side of a sedan, one long line, front fender to back, taking her time with it. Here is the thing though, it was not my car. I had been keeping my car in the garage since the horn business. That was my brother's car, same color as mine, and she keyed the wrong one in the dark. He came downstairs in his boxers, watched the clip twice, and said, completely flat, well, now I am in it too. My brother drives a 9-year-old sedan with a dent in every panel, and he still filed the report on principle, and I love him for it. The police took that report and did approximately nothing, which I have learned is how it goes early on. No proof of the tire screws. The lawn was technically her lawn too. The tracker proved who stuck it under there, they said, and the doorbell clip was too dark to swear to in court. The calls were just under the line. Every single thing she did lived just under the line, and I truly believe she knew where the line was, because you do not stay a nurse anesthetist for 15 years without being smart. She was unhinged, and she was smart at the same time, and that is what scared me. Now watch what finally put it over the line, and the dumb thing is, it was over paint. It had been about 9 weeks since the Sunday confession. The house had just gone on the market. The sign went up in the yard that same week. The lawyers were doing lawyer things, and I stopped at the hardware store on a Saturday morning to buy paint and rollers. I was inside maybe 20 minutes. When I came out, there was a little crowd standing near my car, and a man in an orange vest from the garden section was on the phone, and my windshield was folded down into the front seats with a landscaping brick sitting in the middle of it. She had followed me there. About a dozen miles from the house, she had followed me, sat in the lot, watched me walk in, and then took a brick off a pallet of bricks that the store sells out front in daylight on a Saturday with people pushing carts by, and put it through my windshield. The man in the vest saw the whole thing and stood there and pointed her car out to the police when they came. 2 other people had it on their phones before she even finished, because that is the world now. One of them sent his clip to my phone right there in the lot before the tow truck even came. The whole clip is 9 seconds, and you can hear a lady somewhere off camera say, "Oh my God, honey, no." She did not even leave. That is the detail that tells you where her head was at by then. She was sitting in her car at the edge of the lot when the deputies got there, and when they walked up, she told them, and this came out in the paperwork, word for word, she told them, "He is my husband. I am allowed." That one sentence is as unhinged as anything in the 9 seconds. They arrested her for criminal mischief right there next to the mulch display. And that afternoon, with a booking number finally attached to her name, everything in that folder finally counted for something. The voicemail folder, the call log with 37 circled, the tracker tag in the bag with the date, the doorbell clip of the wrong car getting keyed, the gym kid who wrote out what she asked him, the dates, all of it, stacked up next to a fresh arrest. My lawyer walked it into the courthouse and asked for a protective order. And this time, nobody did absolutely nothing. A judge went through that folder front to back and signed it. She had a court date 2 weeks later to fight it and did not show up, so it went final. No contact, no coming to the plant, no coming to my brother's street. Stay 500 feet back. Electronic contact counts. The order runs through next fall. She never called again. 14 years, 37 calls in a night, and after the judge signed it, the calls just stopped. Turns out she could stop herself just fine once it finally cost her something. Now, there is one more thing I did, and I want to be honest that I did it on purpose and I would do it again tomorrow. All through the Sweet campaign and the Rage campaign, her people had been working on me. Her mother, her sister, her two best friends, a cousin of hers I have met maybe 4 times, a steady drip of texts and calls. You are really quitting on her over one mistake. Marriage takes work. She is falling apart and you do not even care, because the only version any of them had was hers. And in her version, I was a cold man who walked out on a good woman over a bump in the road. So, the week after the judge signed the order, I sat at my brother's table and made a group email. Her mother, her sister, both best friends, the cousin, and the lady from her work. She tells everything too. I attached 3 things: the police report from the hardware store, which is a public record, anybody can pull it, the notice of the protective order, and the 9 seconds. No speech from me, no name calling, no history lesson. The subject line said, "So you have the whole story," and I hit send and went and mowed my brother's lawn. The drip stopped that same day. Her sister wrote back one word: sorry. One of the best friends called me and apologized for a solid 20 minutes and told me a few things I had not asked to know. The cousin never said anything, and my mother-in-law has not spoken my name since, which I am told is meant to be a punishment. All they ever had was her version. Now they had the whole thing. The divorce itself, after all that, was almost boring, and I mean that as a compliment to how these things ought to go. Her lawyer floated one thing early, which was whether I planned to ask for support, since she out-earns me by a good stretch, and the law would have let me try. I told my lawyer to shut that down. I did not want her money. I did not want a check from her showing up every month for the rest of my life either. I wanted to be done. No thanks. So, nobody paid anybody alimony. The house sold in 3 weeks. We split it down the middle. No fight from either side, half the savings each, and she took most of the furniture, which I did not fight about because I had already learned I can live out of garbage bags if I have to, and also because I did not want any of it in the next place, and she kept the dog. I am not going to sit here and pretend that one did not sting, because it stung worse than the furniture and the TV put together. But he was always more her dog. He slept on her side. He waited at the door for her car, not mine. And a protective order makes trading a dog back and forth impossible anyway, and a dog should not live in the middle of that. So she kept him. That is the one thing from the whole mess I would call fair and sad at the same time. Her criminal case wrapped up quietly, the way first offenses do. She took a plea on the mischief charge, got a year of probation, paid for the windshield, which, with the camera in the glass now, ran about $1,800, and the court gave her classes to attend, the kind where you sit in a circle in a strip mall on a weeknight and talk about your choices. I know about the classes because it was in the paperwork, not because I checked. I want that on the record. People ask what the arrest did to her nursing license. I do not know, and I stopped needing to know. As for the old boyfriend, the one from high school who found her online and started all this, he lasted exactly as long as it took for her arrest to show up where people could find it. A buddy of mine works with a guy who knows him, and word came back down the pipe that the boyfriend told people it had gotten too intense. The man blew up a 14-year marriage from behind a keyboard and then left because it got too intense. He blocked her, is what I heard. So she burned the marriage for him, and then the brick cost her the boyfriend too. And I did not have to lift a finger for any of that to happen. Last month, my brother's doorbell camera caught her car rolling past the end of the street. Slow, one time, no horn. 500 feet is 500 feet, and the road is public, and she did not stop. So it is nothing, legally. I watched the clip on my phone at the plant on my lunch break, and I will tell you exactly what I did. I saved it to the folder, and then I went back to work. People at work still ask me sometimes if I saw any of it coming. 14 years with somebody, you had to see something. And the honest answer is, no, I did not see a damn thing. The unhinged version of her was in there the whole time, and I never saw it once, because for 14 years, she never stopped getting her way. The night she confessed was the first time in her life a no stuck. It took a judge to make it stick for good. Well, in my opinion, I think he should have taken the alimony. Sometimes taking the high road doesn't make good financial sense. After what she put him through, hell yeah, take the money. Believe me, she would have taken him for every dollar if she could. See you in the next one.